Before you start entering any transactions, you need to make sure that the tax information that you have available has been correctly set up. To do that on a transaction, you need to go down to the invoice lines, and then under the invoice lines, you'll notice that there is several columns, and as we go through these columns, you'll see that they have headings. So the first is line information, and the second here is tax determinants. Under the tax determinants, we have multiple columns, and it's these columns that we need to reduce, so we only see the columns that actually have an effect on our tax solution. To do that, we come up to View, go to Columns, go to the tax determinants, and then we need to remove these values. So we need to remove tax invoice number, tax invoice date. We need to keep the tax classification codes, this was a good one, but we need to remove the transaction business category. We need to remove the intended use. The product fiscal classification code is also not needed. Product category is not needed. Product type is needed. The product type is the goods and services. User-defined fiscal classification code, we turn this one off. The reason for that is we use the user-defined fiscal classification code in our AP transactions. So unless you're using in Spain, where this would actually be turned on because of the Spanish Modelo requirements, even though unfortunately this is user-defined, Oracle used this particular field to capture Spanish Modelo information. We don't generally want this turned on, so we turn this one off as well. And finally, we turn off the accessible value. So this leaves us currently here with just two tax determinants. The other thing as well is, so after we've selected our tax determinants, you'll notice that there's also 3 columns for tax exemptions. We don't use tax exemptions. These are actually primarily used for US solution, and even with the US solution, we tend to use tax rules. So this is another area that you need to remove. So again, go to Views, Tax Exemptions, and deselect the values that are in the tax exemptions. That's it. So now we have a nice clean lines. You can add or remove anything else that you feel is necessary to be able to enter transactions. But for the tax related information, this is all that we actually need.